think the Rite of Flourishing is the cutest card. I'm gonna cut him. Then where do we take this thing? More Terminates that I don't own, but we could get. Card's been shooting up a little bit. I mean, a playset of Lightning Bolt is reasonable. Card's pretty good right now. Playset of Lightning Bolt, anyone? 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 I wasn't a fan of the Rite of Flourishing. I think that was something that's holding the build back, Snafu. I'd be fine with a playset of Bolt. Bolt's flexible. It's fast. Reasonable removal. Yeah, I mean, Lightning Bolt's fine. Could just run Lightning Bolt. Or if you wanted to be spicier, could do Mud and Modern Thorn of Amethyst, Lodestone, Mox Opal for fast mana. How about 5-color allies? Mud's a cool idea, return. Archmage Ascension, what? Or instead of Bolt, we could go really spice, and instead of running something lame like Bolt, we could run Lava or Lightning Axe. Could just run Lightning Axe. That way, because I'm not really looking to aim Lightning Bolt at players. I'd rather just be able to kill everything in the format for 1 mana. 4-color Lone Pox with Hakan and Knight. What was the mono red deck with Rituals? Asks Freon. We're giving up on it for now, Freon. I like Lightning Axe. Let's do it. Wasn't there a lone deck? Yeah, Hakan plus Knight of the Reliquary was what he was doing. Talon Performance. It doesn't work like you'd want it to. It works pretty well in Legacy, but it doesn't work. I was playing Legacy last, wasn't I? I was playing some Legacy. It doesn't work like you want it to, Snafu. In Modern, it doesn't. But Bribery is fine in Modern. Something fun to do to Tron players or other decks that might happen to have an Emrakul hiding out in their 75. Looking to play Fish, Affinity, Burn. Interesting. I want to see what else this guy said. So he's looking specifically to play Fish, Affinity, Burn, Twin, and Jund. That is what this guy wants to play against. Specifically. He's being very specific about what he wants to play against, as you can see in the comments. Because this is what he thinks Modern is. I hate to disappoint him, but I don't know if he's going to get an opponent anytime soon. Pyromancer's Goggles in Modern? I don't know about that. I wanted to build a Pyromancer Swath deck. They're either his best matchups or his worst. I think he was trying to summarize the Modern metagame right now, and I think he's not necessarily 100% correct. Play Gather Specimens. Gather Specimens is actually very strong. It's an underestimated card. The hard part is getting to 6 mana, though. That's the hard part. Therein lies the hard part. Speaking of which, can I really keep this? I guess I can, because I can Faithless Looting. I'll keep it. This is ambitious. But maybe we don't get punished for this yet. I mean, hopefully he's something that our Lightning Axe, Dark Blast, and Abrupt Decay are good against. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Blood Crypt. Did I ever play Turbo Delver? Alright, excellent. Brown scale and cool. Those are fine things to discard. Actually, I probably should have kept the loam in my hand, though. Well, depending on my opponent... Nice, we got there. We did it. Guys, opponent just auto-scoops to brown scale. Us gaining 2 life every turn is just too strong. It's too strong. Wrecked. We did it. It's actually a fine engine for the deck. I think it's funny that people haven't looked into brown scale before. That was something that one guy was playing in his loam deck. Brown scale. I mean, sometimes that's all it takes. Do I have 4 snap? I have 3, Clayton. I have specifically 3. Sometimes it's all it takes, guys. Sometimes you're just one faithless looting away from winning an entire match. You know, sometimes that's all it takes. Only sometimes. Rewind. I just like this card. Let's just brew around that card. I just enjoy casting it. It's like Electrolyze. It's just one of the cards I just really... Of course it's already taken. Of course I've already built that deck. I need to come up with a new name. Rewind time. I don't know. We're going to do something different with it. I'm sure I've built this before. Snapcaster and Abbots of Curl Keep. Yeah, but Abbott's expensive because there's hype around it. Just really like this card. I really like Rewind. I really like Rewind when it's next to, let's say, a Snapcaster or a Cryptic or Restoration Angel, although I don't own them, but I'm sure we could come up with something really cool to do with the Rewind mana. Goggles value. Oh, the Pyromancer goggles? I don't know, Shadowzord. That's a lot of mana. Do you want me to lend you Abbots? I don't really want to build around that card, though, Shadowzord. I mean, I get it. It's a value card. And it's all well and good. But if it's a value card, then it needs to be in a value deck. Now, the problem is, the vast majority of value decks right now are very expensive because the format has unfortunately become a little stagnant and people are aware of what the value deck cards are or what the value decks are. Therefore, it's not really something I want to build. Grixis with Snap and Abbott. But he's not the first one, Waffles. There are other people exploring Abbott. I really should just brew around something I enjoy, right? The most built around creature right now is Soulfire. In what format? Are we talking standard? Stoic Angel. Cheat stuff in with power goggles. I don't know if I agree with your assessment, Clayton. In what format? Yeah, like, what are cool things we can do with Rewind? It's not in Modern because it just gets bolted. Stoic Angel's cool. Yeah, this thing's underestimated. I mean, Stoic Angel says, where does it say untap? I mean... Clayton, it's not really played because it gets killed by a lot of different things. I wanted to brew around Angel of Salvation and Convoke. I never did get around to finishing that deck though, did I? Oh, the Flash in Modern. Specifically 4 mana Flash, right? So we're going to get Angel, but I wonder if there are other options. I'm wondering, like, Notion Thief. But Notion Thief doesn't have the body that we want. Mystic Snake. I mean, teachings could go hand in hand with Rewind. This goes very well with Rewind. It's often the way that I build the deck. If I'm gonna make a Rewind deck, it's usually Teachings deck. Three toughness manlands. There's a 3 toughness manland that isn't targetable by Lightning Bolt, Clayton, if that's the one you're referring to. See, this just doesn't excite me. It's not as good as Restoration. Nope. I feel like a lot of the 4s I'm going to find aren't going to be nearly as good. Right? Mistbind Clique. That's a cool one. Nope, it's absolute crap, says Pink Person. This is kind of cool. I'm just trying to see if there are any other cool things I can do besides teachings, because that's something I've explored before. Yeah, Restoration Angel is kind of the king, or queen, excuse me. Sight Tiger. Interesting. Denser, that is something cool. You can do on 4 mana. Brilliant ultimatum, says Snafu. I've always liked Windwind. I think she's underplayed. I think she's hard to use properly. I've always liked that card, though. Widewind. Especially like in a control matchup. She's just hard to get rid of. She's interesting. Void Mage Husher. Interesting. I've always liked this card, though. That card's awful. A lot of interesting 4-mana flashes. About a lot of Lufex trash for treasure goblins. Last try, I don't want to be obnoxious. You're not being obnoxious, Shadow. Deck needs Containment Priest. Notion Thief! Well, she's got built-in protection, though, which is kind of why I like her. I mean, I think some of the more powerful 4s are going to be like Mistbind, Resto, maybe something like Windwind as a like a one-of. I mean, yeah, Notion Thief's an option. Just exploring. Why that counterspell? 4 mana is too expensive, says Pink Person. I just really enjoy the card. I'm not worried about the deck being necessarily good, Pink Person. Loot effects. I'm just in the mood to brew something that I might enjoy. I mean, I'm all for finding a new build around card. I just can't think of something. I mean, am I crazy enough to literally just do some random card? The problem is that the random card function doesn't work for a specific, you can't like do specifically